Hello, you're watching The Market Bull. I'm Rebecca Marsh. Thunderbird Resources has today announced a new acquisition in New South Wales, and here to tell us more is the company's Executive Chairman, George Bauk. George, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca.
So you've acquired the Rockvale Antimony and Gold project in Armidale, New South Wales, which actually surrounds Larvotto's high-grade Hillgrove Antimony Gold project. What can you tell us about it?
The opportunity came to us with a great land package of 488 square kilometres surrounding the Larvotto Hillgrove Antimony and Gold project. That project is top 10 in the world. And when you stand back and have a look at the current demand for antimony, and this opportunity came about, the criticality of the mineral, it's just a great address. It's in New South Wales, it's in Australia, provides us a lot of flexibility in terms of access to land, timing, don't have to worry about seasonal conditions, etc. The project has an enormous amount of historical information and data. This project was mined over 100 years ago by old-time miners, where there's a number of shafts on the area that they extracted both antimony and gold out of. And as you can imagine, over 100 years ago, they had limited modern technology and techniques. So those guys were chasing high grade. So when you see so many shafts in the area, that gives you a lot of excitement. We're now going to work through all of the historical data that is available, which is an enormous amount. We've put out some of those numbers in the market today, but what we have is just an enormous land package. It's got an extension from the Hillgrove deposit, so there's this northwest trend that goes right onto our land package that we'll be putting a lot of effort to follow that up immediately.
So how did this acquisition come about?
When you've got your portfolio of assets that are in the Northern Hemisphere that are really impacted by significant weather and hard to access the ground all year round, we were starting to look at opportunities that provide us with the ability to work property throughout the whole year, if you like. So, there was some people thinking, okay, what type of commodity will you go for? Uranium? Will it be Southern Hemisphere uranium, etc.? And it was an opportunistic package that was presented to someone associated with the company that was provided to us to say, this opportunity exists, what do you think about it? Now, I've had a plus 20-year experience in critical minerals, mainly in rare earths, but in other commodities such as graphite, lithium and so forth. And when you look at antimony and you deep dive and research it, you realise that this is another supply chain that's under a lot of pressure globally to not be dominated by one particular supply chain. So you look at it and you think, what opportunity does it present? It's in Australia. That's where we're domiciled, in Western Australia. New South Wales has access pretty much all year round. I mean, the weather conditions in New South Wales aren't too bad. And then you have a look at being near a top 10 global operation. Now, when you take out some of the other top 10, they're in jurisdictions that people are looking to try to move away from because of geopolitical issues. The Hillgrove mine, currently owned by Larvotto, has had a history of mining both antimony and gold over time. They're currently working through a feasibility study at the moment and plan to get into mining in the near future. They have an existing mill on site. They've got underground development that is ready to go. So you're not talking about a project that was recently discovered. This has got a really big history. We surround that property and we've got some great geology, not only on our project, but we've also got quite an important extension of the trend that runs northwest from the Hillgrove mine into our project areas. So you couple all that together and it was just a great opportunity for Thunderbird to look at. We did a site due diligence, spent a lot of time trying to understand both the opportunity at the project, the opportunity around us and the antimony market. And don't forget it's got gold on it, and gold's running really well at the moment, 4,000 Aussie an ounce. You package all that together and it's a great opportunity. So that's why the team at Thunderbird really are excited about this opportunity, and that's why we're presenting it to the market today.
And George, just provide us with a brief overview of the antimony market as a whole.
Antimony, only recently, August, September this year, the Chinese came out and banned exports of antimony. Now, antimony's got a number of applications. It's got a number of really good applications for solar energy. It provides the solar panels to have about a 9% more efficient production. You've got fire retardant, you've got alloys, you've got some critical defence applications. And so the response to the market when China shut down the export of antimony has gone from around $9,000 a tonne to $35,000 a tonne. So this thing has gone 3-4-fold. Now, we all know that commodities are cyclical, so it's not to say that this might not have some ups and downs over the journey, but when you stand back and have a look at it, I think it's the number one mineral behind rare earths in the British Geological Society for criticality. So this is an important mineral that has been presented to us, and antimony, I think, has got an outstanding future.
There's been a significant amount of activity around the Rockvale project. Just provide an update.
Yeah, so look, I mean, if you go back 12 months, that's when Larvotto presented to the market that they acquired the Hillgrove project. The Hillgrove's had an outstanding history of being mined for a number of years, and I think if you go back a decade or two, Straits Resources was a previous miner of the project. So they're in feasibility study mode. They're looking to finalise all their activities to get into production. And when you have a look at the economics they're presenting to the market, it's an outstanding project. Then you've got a number of other companies like Trig Mining, Lode Resources, Critical Resources, and there was another acquisition to the south of us. So there's about 5 key players in the region that will be putting a lot of effort and energy in exploring for both antimony and gold in the area. So it's really got a spotlight on it. And again, when you have a look at the Geoscience of Australia map of Australian critical antimony projects, Hillgrove's number one. So surrounding that is a great strategic position for Thunderbird Resources and its shareholders.
So how does Rockvale fit in with Thunderbird's existing portfolio of uranium and copper assets?
If you have a look at it, and there'll be a lot of people that may think, okay, so this is, we're now charging over to this, which we are. We're going to focus on it unquestionably, but it doesn't mean that our uranium portfolio and our copper portfolio have declined in value. They've got great value. We had some great success in our Hidden Bay drilling that was completed late September. If you go back and have a look at what we're trying to achieve there, we achieved it. We obviously hoped to hit economic quantities of uranium, which we weren't able to, but we hit the right mineralisation to give us encouragement going forward. The problem we've got with that project is we've got limited access to that project for a period of time. So to have cost-effective drilling at Hidden Bay, you've got to wait for the Northern Hemisphere winter, which means you won't be able to get on the ground till about April, May. So that gives you a really big period of what are you doing, if you like. So we're super excited about Hidden Bay. We've still got Clough Lake. We just announced the airborne survey results there that show a great exciting target there, and we're waiting for the results of our Surprise Creek survey that we flew just recently that will show us what the potential there is for both uranium and copper. And then as a company, we put a lot of effort over 2022 to 23 in Peru for copper. We did a transaction with Firetail Resources. We received cash up front. We got a bunch of shares. We sold some of those shares. We still have 16.5 million Firetail shares, about 5% of that company, which gives us about, at the moment, their price, about $1.7 million worth of stock. And they've got not only exposure to the Peruvian copper project that we are in joint venture with them, which we hold 30% of, but they're currently drilling their project in Canada, which is really exciting. And then we've got Surprise Creek. So we've got great portfolios. And when you look at the assets and when you look at the underlying commodities there, you've got now antimony gold, which is fantastic, critical, essential. Uranium, you look at what Amazon just put out recently, you look what Google just talked about. These guys are looking at uranium to feed the energy for the data centres and for AI searches and all the rest of it. So they're picking uranium. So I think there was a comment made that uranium's as flat as a pancake at the moment in terms of price. That will change. When, no one knows, but we've got a great portfolio of uranium assets there. Copper's hot, as everyone knows, and we've got great exposure to copper. So, this is about a great opportunity for shareholders to have a diversity to underpin the potential future share price of Thunderbird.
And you've touched on it briefly already, but just provide a summary of the current work programs at your uranium and copper assets.
Yeah, just go back in summary, we're waiting for Surprise Creek data to come through on the airborne survey, so that will allow us to provide insight into the uranium potential and the copper potential. Firetail's currently drilling in Canada, so again, that has an impact on our 5% holding in Firetail, so that's a great benefit to shareholders from our treasury. And then it's about putting the programs together for 2025 in terms of the uranium and copper projects.
So what can we expect next from Thunderbird Resources?
Yeah, so look, it's going to be very much focused on the Antimony project and gold projects at Rockvale in New South Wales. So we've already commenced work on a very detailed historical compilation of data. There's an enormous amount of data on our project. We're putting our work plans together. We're planning to get on the ground, start looking at the historical workings, putting together a drone airborne survey program, and then, working towards a drill program in 2025. So a lot of work to be done.
George, lots of exciting things in the pipeline for Thunderbird Resources. We thank you for your time today.
No worries. Thanks, Rebecca.